Hello everyone, this is NSLG and I'm going to show you how to chain in the desert with the DexNav in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and also how to get yourself a shiny Cacnea. If you don't know yet how cave chaining works, you can watch my previous video on how to chain in caves or check my guide in the description. In every chain, you want to search in a good spot. Sadly, there isn't any very good spot in the desert, but the spot I'm using is probably the best you can get for any of the Pokemon you can find here. You can see where Cacnea shows up most of the time, and if you can't, then it showed up somewhere to the right. Before starting the chain, I'll tell you how cave chaining works. Pokemon in caves, desert or water will move from tile to tile, and starting at the 5th chain encounter, they will change tiles very quickly. But the way they change tiles is not random. Each Pokemon has its own pattern. Also, starting at the 5th chain encounter, Pokemon will move through their patterns only 2 times. That means the first pattern is used to figure out the Pokemon's tiles, and the second pattern is used to sneak up to it. If you are standing too close to one of those tiles and the Pokemon is going to show up there next, then you will be blocking that tile. The Pokemon will skip the tile you're blocking and show up instead on the next tile in its pattern. So you have to know how close you can be without blocking tiles. Cacnea's pattern has 2 tiles. You can think of it as a vertical line where Cacnea shows up first on the top tile and then moves to the bottom tile. Having 2 tiles means that after 5 chains, Cacnea will show up only 4 times in total. If you block any tile, your chain is most likely over, and that is likely to happen with Cacnea. All patterns in the desert are very unpredictable, so doing what I did in the water chaining video won't work so well here. You don't want your repel to end while you're trying to sneak. Here's what you can do to avoid that. What is going to make or break your chain in the desert is how well you can tell tiles apart. It's hard to do so in the desert because there are no visible tile seams, and there are dunes making uneven terrain. You can use some visual cues, like the rock in the middle that takes up 1 tile, the trainer on top of the screen, or the Pokemon itself. You will know if you chain for a while. Then there's one last thing that you may have noticed in the video already. Once I get fairly close to the Pokemon, I start running to it. That's right, running. You can run to the Pokemon if you're very close to it, about 1 to 2 tiles. But I try to make sure I'm really close before running, otherwise running will still make the Pokemon run away. And that is pretty much what you need to know to chain in the desert. In the rest of this video, I'll just show you some more chain encounters and the shiny encounter.